Hi, my name's Fred, and this is my kitchen, and this is the best ribs from scratch recipe. Restaurant-style ribs from your home? Oh yeah. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe on the link below. And at the end of this video, please look for all of our other bar and restaurant-related videos. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we have a full rack of ribs. I'm using a pork loin rib right now. And what you're going to want to do, I've already done it on these, is on the back of the rib you have a membrane. Oh, first of all, you have to make sure your ribs are fully thawed. If you got a frozen rib, please make sure it's thawed because it makes this a lot easier. If you bought them fresh, good job. So what you're going to do is you want to cut this membrane because you want to, when the ribs cook, they'll either curl up and this is going to make them fall off the bone. So you're going to do 3 or 4 cuts across the back to cut the membrane. So you can see the cuts there. We've cut all the membrane. Make sure you get the ends because that's going to be the first piece usually everybody eats. All right, once your membranes are cut, as I showed you before, you're going to use a rib seasoning. You can purchase a rib seasoning at any supermarket. So I'm going to take, you're going to put 1 tablespoon of rib seasoning on both sides. And once you get it on one side, so you get your even tablespoon, get it across the whole back. You want to rub that in to make sure it is incorporated into the meat. So you want to give that a good rub. Make sure you get it all in the meat. And now you can see where your cuts are. You're going to flip it over. And you're going to do 1 tablespoon, excuse my arm, of rib seasoning on this side as well. And then I like a little extra seasoning. We're going to rub this in. Make sure you get the whole rib with the seasoning. There we go. I'm going to continue to do this with the rest of the ribs and then move on to the next step. After you put the seasoning on, I like to let them sit for about 10 minutes to let the seasoning get absorbed into the rib as well. Okay, and here's what the ribs look like after they've all been seasoned and sat for about 10-15 minutes. Okay, so what I have here now is my 6-inch deep full pan. You could also use a roaster pan at home. If you don't have a roaster pan, it also should have a cooking rack in it because we're going to be putting some liquid smoke and some water in the bottom, and we don't want the ribs sitting in that liquid. So if you have a roaster pan, if not, you could buy a 4-inch foil pan. That's a full pan or a half pan at the dollar store, as well as Walmart or any big box store will carry the foil pans. You would just have to purchase a cooking rack. So what you're going to want to do now is you want to put 4 cups of water in this. If you're doing a half pan or a roaster pan, you could use, it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So however big your pan is. I'm going to use 4 cups of water to 1 cup of liquid smoke. That's what this is right here. This is a great product that's going to give your ribs that hickory flavor because we don't have a smoker. Most of us don't have a smoker at home or have the hickory that we can cook this over a lovely fire pit. So we're going to add a 1 full cup of the hickory seasoning, the hickory liquid smoke. And on top of that, we're going to add 4 cups of water. And if you could see in there, the product, let's give it a good stir to incorporate everything. It's just above where the water is just touching the bottom of the cooking rack. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put the ribs in a shape like that to give it area for the steam when we cook these and bake them at the same time, the steam to go around the ribs. So you're going to put the first rib in with its back against the wall. The second one we're going to put, so it's got a little cove in it. Let's see if you can see that. Like that. And we're going to continue to do this across the whole pan. So this is what it's going to look like. I don't know if the camera was on it or not. So I put the ribs in. So they make a cove like that. And we have rib. I have 8 ribs in there right on top of the liquid smoke and the water, but it is not touching the liquid. Okay, we've got our ribs set up in our pan. Here's a cool little trick. I'm going to take pan spray and I'm going to spray it along the edges here because I'm going to put cellophane on this and it'll help it, once it's done cooking, not to stick to your pan or your product. So there's our pan spray. I'm going to reach across the camera, so I apologize. We're going to make sure we have a little extra on this side. Got it? Make sure you get your cellophane nice and tight because we want to make a good seal. Okay, that's all crimped underneath. And now to keep the cellophane in place, we're gonna put a layer of foil on it now. I've got that on. And let me go get my foil. Okay, so here's the pan with the cellophane on it. And in the back there you say I have foil, so now I'm gonna reach across the camera again and pull the foil out and go completely over it and make the seal complete. Want to make sure you crimp the foil underneath now to tighten up the cellophane. Just to show you now. Make sure there's no rips or tears in the cellophane or the aluminum foil. And there you have your product ready to go in the oven. Now this is going to go in the oven for 4 hours at 250 degrees. You don't need to check it, just put it in the oven for 4 hours and 250 degrees. When that timer goes off, you're going to take it out of the oven and we're going to immediately take the cellophane and foil off, and that'll be the next step in our perfectly cooked ribs. Okay, the ribs have come out of the oven now. They've been in the oven at 250 degrees for 4 hours. What we're gonna do now, it's gonna be super, super hot, the steam in there, so do not get burned with the steam. You're gonna make a little hole and then take everything off. And just be very careful. And there's your ribs. Cooked in steam. Now they're not ready to go yet. You have to let these sit. Let me take these off now. You're gonna have to let these sit for about an hour. If you touch them now, literally they'll fall off the bone. You need to get them a little more crispy. So once they've sat for about an hour at room temperature, you're going to then be able to take them, put them on a grill, put them in your oven. If you want them barbecued, hickory, however you want to do with them. Now you're going to cook them for the final stage to give them the crisp that you want. Say you're having a barbecue and you want to put these on the barbecue at 2 o'clock. I say you start cooking them at 9 o'clock in the morning, so when they come out of the oven at 1 o'clock, they sit for an hour. At 2 o'clock, you could start cooking them on your barbecue or putting them in your oven, and they'll be ready for service. So, okay, these ribs, again, are fully cooked now. This one's been resting about 45 minutes. I'm going to put it in my oven for about 6 minutes, and I'm going to take it out, add the barbecue sauce, put it back in for a nice caramelization, and they'll be ready for service or ready to serve to your guests. I'm going to show you what that looks like now. Okay, these just came out of the oven. I had them in the oven for 4 minutes at 350 degrees. Then I took them out, added the barbecue sauce, put them in for another 3 or 4 minutes until I got a little caramelization on the barbecue sauce, and they're ready to go. So pan's super hot. Move that out of the way. Put my quarter plate there. Ribs. Hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Again, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe on the link below. And at the end of this video, which is right now, please look for all of our other bar and restaurant related videos. Again, thanks for watching.